Hey, it's Kevin DeWitt here, and welcome to another tip, trick, or technique session. In this session, we're going to talk about panning sweeps with automation. So firstly, if you are new to my channel and new to my videos and you like what you see, please click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. So if you want to create some interest in your songs and a bit of variance, and especially something of interest to people using headphones, then sweeping instruments or vocals across the stereo field can be very useful, and it's quite simple to do it. Now, you can get some plugins that will do this automatically for you and various things like that. But what I wanted to show you is how to do it in automation manually, creating it yourself so you get exactly the sound you want and exactly the effect you're after to get that interest there. Now, it can be something that I prefer personally to do it very sporadically, just little bits and pieces here and there. I've heard songs where instruments are panned constantly, sweeping across left and right for long periods of time. And that's probably fine for most people. For someone like me, I find it very uncomfortable. Um, I don't like things that make me dizzy, and I get seasick. So things that are panning left and right constantly really start to make me feel uncomfortable. So I'm a little bit susceptible to that. So I always sort of lean on the subtler side of it because of that. And you might have other listeners that have the same issue. So keep that in mind. It may not be something you're aware of if you don't suffer from that. And obviously, you are free to ignore that as well and do the effect however you like. But yeah, let's just get into it, and I'll show you how to do it in Cubase now. Okay, so I've got a song here, and I'm going to first state that I didn't do any pan sweeping on this song. I didn't feel it needed it. So this example is not necessarily in context of the song. I'm just using this song as an example of how you can do the pan sweeping effect, but really you need to find the right song to do the effect, and you need to find the right place and the right time. Okay, you want to keep the listeners interested, but you don't want to just create effects for the sake of creating effects. They need to really serve a purpose, and and sometimes that purpose just may be that you just need to put something interesting in there, and that can be a fine purpose. Or another one is that obviously it adds some sort of emotional element to it, some impact or something like that. So I've got two guitar tracks here, which are basically the same guitar. They just a double track sort of type thing. And at the moment, they're stereo tracks, but I have panned them in a way that converts them to mono. So obviously, if you've got a mono track like this is an easier process to do straight away, as in, you can just move it like this. But if you have a stereo track and you still want to create this effect, then the first thing you need to do is you need to do it in a way that makes it mono. And you'll see here, like if I was to actually adjust this, I have two separate channels, but all I have done is just pan them in so they become exactly the same spot, which basically makes them mono. Now, in this case here, I'm doing that to actually create a stereo effect between these two guitars, as opposed to a mono. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute this one here because I only need one guitar track to do this panning. All right, because we obviously want to pan it from left to right, whereas that was used to create a stereo effect. So I'm just going to bring that up a bit wider. So what we need to do first is get our automation lanes up. And the easiest way to do that is to actually put it in write mode. So we're going to put it in write mode, and then what we're going to do is just going to play the track, and I'm just going to adjust this setting here. And we're only doing this just to trick Cubase into pulling up the lanes. So what we're going to do is we'll put it in write mode, and then we're going to play the track. And then I'm just going to quickly adjust the left and right pan settings here on the track. And what that's going to do is it's going to automatically pull up the appropriate left and right pan settings automation tracks. Now, we could obviously click on this and then go and find the correct ones, but this is just a quick, simple cheat here where we can just get Cubase to find them and pop them up for us. So I'll just do that now. Okay, that's one. And there's the second one. So we've got both tracks pulled up now. So now what we do is, because we obviously just wrote rubbish data in there, we just delete that data, but our true tracks are here. All right, so just ignore this volume one here, because obviously I'm doing a volume boost as well. So you'll see here we've got this pan left, right, and pan left, right 2, both set at L54. So we're going to expand this window a little bit. Here's our guitar little riff here. And all we need to do is basically just put in a hit point on each side, because we need to adjust both of these because we're doing it in stereo. As I said, if this was a mono track, it'd be a lot simpler because we would only have one pan control that we would need to adjust. Technique is the same, but we only need to adjust one actual automation channel. Now, it depends on what you want to achieve out of this, but we could simply go, all right, we want a hit point at the start here. We want a point here at the end. And I'm just going to create another one as well, because we might want to put it back to where it was quickly. And then we do the same on the other side. Now what I want to do is I want to grab this point over here, and I'm going to move it down until it says about R54. Right, so now what I'm doing is, when this plays, it's going to follow this line, and it's going to slowly pan across, get to center, keep going. That's the center point there. Keep going until it goes across to the exact length opposite. Now, if you want to go fully from the left and right, then obviously you need to drag these up to 99 or 100, whatever it's going to come up at. So let's just start with the 54, and then I'll show you it from full width as well. So we'll say from about there, okay? Now, we can take it out of write mode. We need to make sure that it is in read mode automation, because it needs to play this automation. So you could hear there, it's slowly panned across the stereo field there. So let's say we want to go to the full extremes. I'll just let it, it's just clicking to the grid there, so I'll just let it for the sake of this. So I'll pull it all the way up. You'll see it says now LL, so it's fully all the way across, and it's going to go all the way across to right. And it's as simple as that. Now, you might not want to stop there though. That might be just a little bit, oh, well, okay, that's a bit of a pan. That's fine. Nothing too amazing there. Let's put in some more hit points. And maybe what we want to do is go a little bit more radical with our panning. and really start sweeping this backwards and forwards. So all I'm doing is creating points and making them be triangles across 2 grid points on each. And you can do this however you like. It can be totally in time with the music. So you could do it per beat. You could do it quarter notes. However you want to do it, you can lock this to whatever you want to achieve out of it. And you don't even have to go to these extremes. You can go various different in-betweens. But let me just show you this one here. So obviously we're now getting a lot more sweeping going across there, panning all the way around, doing various things there. Now, as I said, you can go even further than that. I mean, this one here, we can even bend it in Cubase. Now with this new version, we could do very interesting bends and so we could create some really unique effects there. But you also might want to do something where, for instance, in this section here, maybe you want to stop it at center for a bit. You know, maybe back there, you want to actually put it to the center for a couple of beats. So we can do lots of various effects there. So you can sort of see how that happened there, or they could be, you know, you could bend it the other way and they do really slow slopes there, or go back to the straight lines. Whatever you want to do in here is 100% up to you, but it's as simple as this to do automation. People think that automation is quite complicated, but sometimes it's just as easy as drawing a line. You know, you can even get your pencil out if you want and manually draw in what you want to happen. So you might want to say, just do a bit of an intro on here. So you might want to just do a bit of a sweep. So we could delete some of these points here. And let's say we just go here and we're just going to sweep from one side to the center. And that's going to be our little intro there. And then we're just going to stay in the center. And that can be a useful technique where you've got a guitar that, let's say this guitar is primarily through the song on the left or on the right, whichever side, and then it's coming into a solo. You can use this technique to get that instrument as if they were walking on stage from the left of the stage to the center of the stage to do their solo, and they sort of come in part way into their solo, you hit the center. So you could do that. This could be the start of a solo, and then bang, they're in the center. It's their starring moment. They're doing their solo, and then you pan them back out to where they were on the left side again to do their general rhythm sections, etc. Now, the other technique you can use is to go sort of a bit opposite here. So you could take, if you had this guitar and it truly was a stereo style guitar, sounded wide, very stereo. I'm not sure if this one actually is. So let me just put a stereo effect on. So let's see if we can get it sounding stereo. Okay, so we've got a stereo guitar here, and what we want to do is, again, we want to create some interest or bring it in to narrow it into a solo. So we're starting out with it wide. We've got one side pan fully left, one side pan fully right, so it's totally stereo. And let's just bend this curve so it's a little bit subtler and a bit sharper where it actually comes in. And then what I'm doing is I'm actually panning it both sides into the center. So I'm then turning it from a stereo guitar into a mono guitar. And then you could pan obviously back out again to stereo. So that can be an interesting style effect as well. So as you can see, ideas are limitless to what you can do, and you're not limited to guitars. You can do it on anything you want. And obviously this feature here is limited to a stereo style guitar. If you're working with a mono track, as I said, so let me find, so we've got a bass guitar here. This is mono. If we wanted to automate this, I'll just put it in right mode. So I'll just move it so we get some movement up there. And as you can see, I could do this manually as well by just moving the fader. If I had a hardware controller, I could just play with it to get the sound I want. So obviously in mono, we only have the one panning control here. So now all you have to do is just do your settings on one control and move it all around to however you want it to look. Create some interesting style sweeping effects, and then bring it back to the center, and then you've got your bass doing this. So there you go, that's that. So you can make very subtle. Let's say you just want to add a tiny little bit of movement. Now, I wouldn't usually do this with a bass, but if you had a pad or a synth or something that was just sort of droning along, you might want to just do a little setting like this and have it move around. Now, you can sort of cheat that a little bit by going and getting, saying, a triangle tool here and just placing it in and drawing it like that, and it sort of draws quite quickly triangles. And you've got other drawing tools up here, square, you know, just straight lines, parabolic, whatever, and you can quickly draw on this interface here. So this is not an obvious pan, it's more of a subtle movement, just a little bit of movement in your mix. So as I said, you might have a synth part or a pad or something like that that's droning along in the background, and you just do something like this to get a little bit of movement. If I was going to do this through the entire song, I would be more likely to go and grab a plugin that does it automatically, just a lot simpler. But you can obviously see if you don't have a plugin, you want to do it manually, then you just need to put in a little bit of extra effort to draw these in. And, you know, in Cubase, you can actually, you could highlight a section, let's say that, and we can copy and we can paste. So we can sort of paste sections along. Obviously, I haven't done it accurately there, but you could paste it along and copy the settings across to each section. So there you go. That is panning sweeps with automation. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Let me know what you think of my technique. Do you have a better approach? Do you use something similar or plugins or something? Whatever you use, let me know. Or if you haven't used it and you're going to try it, let me know that as well. If you have any questions about the technique, please feel free to put them in the comments. I'd love to help wherever I can. Again, if you liked the video, please click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos. Hopefully the video has been helpful. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.